Well, I don't want to come off the bench is not a personal issue.
Sophie Cunningham just dropped some juicy details on her podcast that nobody saw coming. The Indiana Fever guard, who played alongside DeWanna Bonner in both Phoenix and Indiana, broke her silence about why Bonner really quit on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever midseason. And let me tell you, what she said about Bonner's unprofessional exit is going to make your jaw drop. Cunningham didn't hold back when she exposed how Bonner handled her departure, calling out her behavior openly. The tea she spilled about what really went down behind the scenes changes everything we thought we knew about this drama. Drop a good riddance down in the comments below if you agree with Sophie about Bonner's distasteful exit. Let's go. When DeWanna Bonner signed with the Indiana Fever, everyone thought they were witnessing the perfect addition to the team. This wasn't just any veteran pickup. Bonner came with serious credentials and the kind of experience that championship teams are built around. The signing caught everyone by surprise, but in the best possible way. Fever fans finally had reason to believe their young superstar would have the veteran leadership she desperately needed. Then the game started. Bonner's actual performance told a completely different story than those glowing press conferences. Over 9 games, she managed just 7.1 points per game of shooting, numbers that made everyone wonder if they were watching the same player they'd signed. Her 3.8 rebounds and 1.6 assists per game weren't just underwhelming. They were downright disappointing for someone with a reputation. But the numbers only told part of the story. What really stood out was how disinterested Bonner looked on the court. She moved like someone who didn't want to be there. Fans started scratching their heads. Teammates began exchanging glances. The coaching staff found themselves in an impossible position. The situation reached a breaking point when Coach Stephanie White made the difficult decision to bench Bonner. Think about that for a second. Bunching a supposed veteran leader just weeks into the season, the awkwardness in the locker room became impossible to ignore. Fans who had bought into the hype felt confused and betrayed. Players who expected leadership got silence instead. This benching should have been a wake-up call, a moment for Bonner to step up and prove her worth. Instead, it marked the beginning of something much worse than poor shooting, percentages, or lackluster defense. The woman who promised to be Clark's veteran guide was about to reveal her true character in ways that would shock everyone who believed in her public persona. Bunch was embarrassing enough, but what happened next turned DeWanna Bonner from a disappointing player into a complete mystery. One day, she was sitting on the bench barely playing, and the next day, she was just gone. No explanation, no goodbye. The Indiana Fever started listing her absences as personal reasons, which is basically sport speak for, we have no idea what's going on either. The timeline of Bonner's disappearing act reads like a bad soap opera. Games came and went with fans scanning the bench, wondering where she was. The team kept giving those vague updates about personal reasons, but nobody was buying it. You could see the confusion in Coach Stephanie White's face during press conferences. Reporters asked about Bonner's status. Even she didn't seem to have real answers. This whole situation put the Fever in an impossible position. The worst part was watching teammates try to answer questions they couldn't answer. Reporters kept asking about Bonner's timeline for return, and players like Caitlin Clark had to give those awkward diplomatic responses. Fooled nobody. You could tell they were frustrated, but trying to stay professional. Clark had been counting on veteran leadership, and instead she got radio silent. Then the pieces started falling into place. Rumors began floating that Bonner wasn't coming back at all. The personal reasons excuse was wearing thin, especially when weeks turned into a month. Players started talking differently in interviews, using past tense when discussing her contributions. The writing was on the wall. The moment everyone realized Bonner had essentially quit came when news broke that she wanted to sign with the Phoenix Mercury, not returning to Phoenix after the season, joining them immediately mid-season, while still technically under contract with Indiana. The audacity was breathtaking. Her personal reasons weren't family issues or health problems. She was just unhappy and wanted out.